Good morning from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This is Space Shuttle Columbia Launch Control. Our countdown for launch of Space Shuttle Columbia on mission STS-107 is continuing on schedule this morning. Launch remains scheduled to occur at 10:39 a.m. Eastern Time, and our launch opportunity window extends for about 2 hours and 30 minutes. This is a 16-day science mission. It's dedicated to various competitively selected and commercially sponsored experiments in space, life, and physical sciences. The astronauts will be working 24 hours a day in 2 alternating shifts to carry out experiments in the areas of astronaut health and safety, advanced technology development, and Earth and space sciences. And we have our 7 astronauts seated at breakfast. Ilan Ramon is there. He is the representative from the Israel Space Agency, a first-time flyer, as well as David Brown. William McCool, who will be our pilot on this mission. And our commander for this flight is Rick Husband. Laurel Clark, one of the 2 females on this mission. Mike Anderson, and of course Kopna Chawla, rounding out the 7-member crew. This again was taken at about 6 o'clock this morning Eastern Time at the crew quarters. Crew members are of course in their suit-up room. First one is Rick Husband, who is of course the commander of this flight. William, or Willie McCool, is our pilot on his first flight. Mike Anderson, he's the payload commander as well as mission specialist on this mission. Laurel Clark, mission specialist on her first flight. David Brown, mission specialist, his first flight. Kopna Chawla, and Ilan Ramon, colonel in the Israeli Air Force. This is a crew coming out of their crew quarters as a unit on the 3rd floor of the operations and checkout building. All of our astronauts, of course, are now suited, and they are getting onto the elevator that will take them down to the ground floor and to the astronaut van, which is waiting for them. And our astronauts coming out now as they are making their way to the astronaut van. Commander Rick Husband, payload specialist Ilan Ramon, pilot William McCool, and the NASA test director Jeff Spalding has given approval for the crew to begin entry into the vehicle. Again, this 7-member flight crew, and they are now in the process of entering the vehicle to occupy their assigned seats. Commander Rick Husband, the first to enter the orbiter, as is the tradition, in a prone position, and you can see Husband climbing in somewhat difficult, cramped quarters there. He has astronaut support people that are assisting him, and they will continue to assist him and the other crew members until they are all completely strapped in. And next to enter the vehicle will be the astronaut representing the Israel Space Agency, Ilan Ramon. Ramon is a colonel in the Israeli Air Force. He received a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Tel Aviv in 1987. Ramon will be situated and seated on the middeck. 3 of our astronauts will be on the middeck and 4 will be on the flight deck. Water, mist, fire suppression, and structures of flame balls at low Lewis numbers experiments.
And attention all personnel, this is the NTD conducting the launch status check. Verify ready to resume count and go for launch. OTC, go. TBC, go. TTC, go. LPS, go. Houston flight.
Houston flight is go.
Mila, STM. STM is go. Just safety console. Safety's go. SPE.
SP's go.
LRD. LRD go. SRO.
SRO is go. You have a range clear to launch.
Copy. And CDR.
CDR is go.
Copy. And launch director, launch team is ready to proceed?
I copy. I'll perform my poll at this time. Chief Engineer, Launch Director, verify no constraints to launch.
Engineering team is go, Mike.
Thank you, Charlie. KSC Safety, Mission Assurance.
KSC FMA is go, Mike.
Copy. Payload Launch Manager.
Go.
Thank you, Bill. Range weather.
There is no constraints for launch.
Copy. And Ops Manager.
MMT is go for launch.
Copy that, thank you. Columbia Launch Director.
Go ahead.
Okay, Rick, if there's ever a time to use the phrase, all good things come to people who wait, this is one time. And for you and your crew, best of luck on this mission, and from the many, many people who put this mission together, good luck and Godspeed.
Oh, we appreciate it, Mike. The Lord has blessed us with a beautiful day here, and we're going to have a great mission. We appreciate all the great hard work everybody's put into this, and we're ready to go.
International mission to explore the science, peace, and potential that only space travel can offer.
Well, we thank you very much, Ray, and thanks for all the great work from your team and all the other folks.
Columbia, for the flight crew, close and locking visors and initiate O2 flow.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
O2 flowing, thanks a million.
And we have a go for auto sequence start. Columbia's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 20 seconds and counting. 15 seconds. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. We have a go for main engine start. 5, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia with a multitude of national and international space research experiments.
Houston now controlling the flight of Columbia, the international research mission finally underway.
Roger, roll, Columbia.
Columbia now rolling on to the proper azimuth for a 39-degree inclination to orbit. Shuttle in a heads-down, wings level position for the 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 30 seconds into the flight, the 3 liquid fuel main engines beginning to throttle back in a 3-step fashion to 72% of rated performance, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it breaks through the sound barrier. Columbia already 2.5 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 4.5 miles in altitude. The main engines beginning to rev up to full throttle, 104% of rated performance. One minute, 26 seconds into the flight. Columbia 10 miles downrange, 13 miles in altitude, traveling at 1,800 miles an hour. Away from solid rocket booster separation, everything looking good on board Columbia. Solid rocket booster separation confirmed. Guidance now converging. Columbia's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to gently swivel, aiming the shuttle for a precise target in space for main engine cutoff. Columbia now 43 miles downrange, 35 miles in altitude, traveling 3,200 miles an hour. The propulsion officer and mission control reporting that the orbital maneuvering system engines have ignited, providing Columbia with a boost uphill.
Columbia, Houston, we saw a good OMS 2 burn. No trim required. We'll meet you in the post-OMS 2. And to have a sensitive moment, we would like to welcome, or we hope your wait to space was worth it, and we saw a flawless ascent and insertion for your now veteran crew of astronauts, and especially a big welcome to Ilan as you join the international community of human spaceflight.
Good morning, Blue. And that was EMA going out to Dave with a congratulations on your first wake up in space.
We're now receiving live video from inside one of the mini experiments inside the SpaceHab Research Double Module. This experiment is called the Space Technology and Research Students Payload, which is comprised of 6 experiments that were set up by students from 6 different countries. The views are switching between some of the investigations inside this experiment. Students from Australia are hoping to examine how spider webs are produced, as well as the mechanical properties of web filaments and microgravity. And students in China are studying the development of silkworm larvae, pupae, and adults, as well as the production of silk and the cocoons that are spun. Students in Israel are examining the production and geometry of crystal fibers in microgravity in order to better understand their formation here on Earth. And students from Japan are examining the effects of microgravity on a closed aquatic ecosystem using Medaka fish embryos. Students from Liechtenstein are studying the behavior of carpenter bees in microgravity, and students from New York in the United States are studying an ant colony in microgravity. These are all part of the Space Technology and Research Students Payload, which is an international educational payload in which students from these 6 different countries developed biological experiments in order to promote an interest in scientific.
Mission Specialist Mike Anderson reporting to the Shuttle Flight Control Room and the Payload Operations Center here at Houston Mission Control Center. That data take is underway on the MEDEX experiment. The look at the experiment to measure small particles or aerosols in the atmosphere over the Sahara, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Atlantic Ocean. We're seeing some of this downlink on that data take on NASA television now.
You're looking at the Astroculture Growth Chamber. Also, you might hear the crew calling it the AST experiment. This is one of the commercial experiments being done by SpaceHab. In this particular experiment, they're looking at the impact of microgravity on plant oil development using this plant growth chamber. The main objective is the development of both new cosmetics and food flavors for a commercial company.
A good shot of the external tank just shortly after we pitched up, and we're looking at it through the overhead windows of the orbiter, as you saw Dave and Mike getting ready to do.
Give you an idea of who's who. This is Ilan Ramon, the first Israeli ever to fly in space. Kalpana Chawla, mission specialist on her 2nd mission. Rick Husband, the commander, 2nd mission. Lowell Clark, another space rookie. Bookended by space rookies here. Commander Husband, let's talk first of all about how everything's going. You got a menagerie of animals up there, too many scientific experiments to enumerate here, but generally speaking, how's it going?
Well, things are going really great, Miles. We're having a great time up here. We had a great ride to orbit, and all the activation of the experiments in the SpaceHab went extremely well, and we're really, we've got our space legs and up and running.
Send it over to Colonel Ramon, please. Colonel Ramon, I'm curious what it was like when you had that opportunity on one of those early passes to look down at your home country and the Middle East in general. What were your thoughts at that time?
I'll tell you the truth, it was pretty fast. It was actually today, and it went too fast. It was partly or mostly cloudy, so I couldn't see much of Israel, just the north of Israel, and of course, I was excited.
What are your thoughts now that you're in space about what it represents to your nation?
I think it's a great start, and it's an opening for great science from our nation, and hopefully for our neighbors in the Middle East.
Was the launch what you expected?
The launch was pretty exciting, yeah. A lot of noise, shaking, but after about a minute or so, we got used to it, and it went pretty smoothly.
Security was very tight. A lot of concern before you ever
fired off those solid rocket boosters. How aware of that were you? How much of an added concern was that for you?
Well, since NASA security and the county security were unbelievable and helpful, I didn't have any doubt that everything will go pretty good, and so it did. And I was aware of it. I got there, my family, and I knew exactly what's going on there.
Let's close the Colonel Ramon. I have an email question for you, Colonel. This comes from Great Britain. Don't you think it would have been a powerful evocation and image of humanity if you had flown with a Palestinian or an Arab crew member and he wishes good fortune to you? Had you thought much about that?
Well, as you probably know, an Arab man already flew in the 80s, so I'm not the first one from there. And I feel like I represent, first of all, of course, the State of Israel and the Jews, but I represent also all our neighbors, and I hope it will contribute to the whole world, and especially to our Middle East neighbors.
All right, we're going to have to leave it at that. The crew, or at least a portion, the awakened crew of the Columbia, there are some of them asleep right now, 3 of them in bunks in the mid-deck. Thanks very much for taking a little bit of time while you're on orbit to visit us from the flight deck of the Space Shuttle Columbia. We wish you well as this space marathon 24/7. Oh my goodness, look at that little chalice going by there. Anyway, thanks very much, and have a great mission. We appreciate it. It's always fun to watch that.
Well, thank you very much. You're loud and clear. This is Bill Harwood. I'm here at the Kennedy Space Center with Peter King of CBS Network Radio, and I agree with Miles. You guys look real good up there.
This question is for Colonel Ramon. Colonel, this is Peter King, and we're wondering how you're commemorating your very first Sabbath in space today.
Well, first of all, it's great to be here in space, and secondly, we are so busy in all the experiments that I didn't even had the chance to think about Sabbath.
And that leads into my follow-up here. Of course, the true observance would, of course, require you not to be working today. Did you receive a special dispensation so you could be on the job and concentrating on your scientific duties?
No, as you know, probably I'm secular, and I didn't get any special permission. I'm here with special teammates and crewmates, and I'm working like them every day. The only thing I did have is a Kiddush cup, but I even missed that yesterday for Friday. I hope I'll do it next Friday.
Bill Harwood again. One more for you, Colonel Ramon. I was thinking that your presence on the crew got a lot of attention in Israel, and by my count, Israel's the 30th nation to put someone into space, and I know you guys are busy up there, and I know that it's been maybe a little bit cloudy when you've looked down on Israel, but I was wondering what your thoughts were about either the historical or cultural significance of getting into orbit as an Israeli.
I sure thought about it before getting to space. In the last 2 or 3 days, we were real busy and getting our legs on, and I didn't have the chance to think about it up here. I'm sure I will have the chance later on.
Colonel, this is Peter King again. Your national election is coming up on January 28th in Israel while you're still in orbit. Have you voted, or will you be voting from orbit?
I haven't voted, and I will not vote. I will send my father back to vote on behalf of me.
Columbia, Houston, good morning to the Blue Team. That was Cultural Exchange for Dave.
Good morning, Stephanie. The Blue Team's up, and we're ready to go to work. Thanks a lot.
You're looking at a view of the moon taken from a camera in the payload bay of the Space Shuttle Columbia. Columbia currently orbiting the Earth over Central America, about to enter into orbital nighttime.
Columbia, Houston, a very good morning to the Red Team. We're looking forward to another productive day with you. The music was for Ilan. That was Hatishma Koli by Hakalonet Gavohim.
Good morning, Houston. It's great to be awake for a Hebrew, very old song by a very good singer. And it's great to be here in space and hear Hebrew. And thanks for my wife Rona and the kids, and we are looking for a great fourth science day for us here.
Again, here we have Ilan Ramon working on Nudex. He's looking at a computer and commanding some radiometric cameras outside in the payload bay that are measuring the reflection off of dust in the atmosphere. It has a huge impact on weather patterns across the planet. Of course, the computers can't do it all. Here's Ilan looking out the window real time to see where the dust storms are most significant so that he can direct the cameras to the right place.
Quite a bit of stuff that we use for this, so we're provided with little clips of Velcro and the like to hold everything down. Of course, one thing about microgravity is instead of handing things, you can just pass them from one end of the module to the other, and so that's really handy sometimes, the lack of gravity. Part of the blood sample goes now to Ilan, and he's working with a portable clinical blood analyzer, and so we take these samples within 10 minutes of the blood draw and record them for the payload scientists. So not only do we store some of the samples, actually we store all of the samples, but we do some real-time analysis.
Columbia, Houston, good morning to the Blue Team. That was Texan 60 for Dave.
Prime Minister, Ilan, shalom to you.
שלום לך, אדוני ראש הממשלה.
Shalom to you, Mr. Prime Minister. 5 days ago, just the evening before,
היינו מאוד נרגשים, שרת החינוך ואני, שהייתה לנו הזכות לדבר איתך. עכשיו, אנחנו רואים אותך שם, אנחנו נרגשים עוד יותר.
אני חושב שאני נרגש לא פחות מכם, בוודאי, לשוחח איתך, אדוני ראש הממשלה, ועם שרת החינוך, אבל במיוחד לשוחח אתכם מכאן, מהחלל.
הייתי לדעת מה אתה רואה שם,
what do you see from there that we can't see from here?
אני אספר לך,
I will tell you
מה שרואים מכאן, זה באמת מדהים.
What we can see from here is amazing. Our Earth, the planet, is beautiful. It really is beautiful. But what is more interesting is that the atmosphere.
You're looking at a view of the Earth's atmosphere as the Space Shuttle Columbia moves into orbital nighttime over the South Atlantic Ocean.
אתה עושה כשאתה קם בבוקר את אותם הדברים אבל לאט מה אתה רואה כשאתה קם בבוקר ברובם אני לא מוצא אותה אחת לא מוצא אותה אחת מה אתה שומע כשהרוח מיילדת את השיר העתיק שלא נחסר.
Good morning to the Red Team. We are looking forward to working with you for another great day of science. That music was for Ilan. It was Ma'ata Oshe Kishiata Kamba Boker by Eric Einstein.
Good morning, Linda and all the team of the flight directors. It's great to hear your voice speaking Hebrew. And the sentence you just talked is, what do you do when you wake up in the morning? So I'm smiling here. Everybody is smiling here. And we are happy for another great day in space for great science.
student experiment. On this experiment, we have actually 6 experiments. The silkworms come from China. We have a medaka fish from Japan.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're looking at live video from the Spacehab Research Double Module. Dave Brown of the blue team, floating into view, wearing the tan shirt. Wearing the dark blue shirt is Israeli payload specialist Ilan Ramon.
And Laurel, we copy and appreciate the extra effort.
No problem. We're standing by, watching and keeping our fingers and toes crossed.
We're doing the same down here.
These are 2 video tape recorders that we use in the cabin to record MEDEX data. Here's Dave Brown at the aft station working the MEDEX payload, where he's doing some observations looking for dust. We're looking for dust primarily in the area of the Mediterranean, and certainly we've got a great picture here of Egypt and the Sinai Peninsula, and up at the upper left part of the screen, Israel. We've zoomed into Israel here, where our world-famous astronaut Ilan Ramon is from. And he zoomed in on this picture. You can see the Dead Sea to the right, and there just about in the center of the picture is where Jerusalem is located. And as we take a look down at the southern tip of the Sinai Peninsula, we will zoom in and we'll see the areas of Ras Nasrani, where it's very good scuba diving, I'm told by Ilan, is to be had by all. And as we work our way up the coast here, we'll see the area where Sharm el-Sheikh is located, and as we work up to the north end, we see where Eilat is located. We're supposed to help get that stuff put together, and then she and I sit down and review it before we start our day, and Blue Shift does a similar operation when they start their day. Here we are traveling from the airlock of the orbiter through the tunnel into the Spacehab module, and you can see Ilan here doing some space acrobatics in the module. And I think the cameraman did a few as well. Here comes the Superman entry of the astronaut from Israel, and Ilan has done such a fantastic job up here. It was a great thing to be able to give him a break and have some fun. You can see him doing a nice little pirouette, and then taking some time to have a snack that he's brought up. And you can see how the fact that we're in microgravity with things floating like they do make eating a whole different experience. To his sleep station, see he's got sleeping bags inside there, and in the meantime Laurel decides she's going to check out her sleep station as well. Inside those sleep stations, we've got some pockets on the far side that we can put clothing or books or anything we need. We've got a light in there that we can... Here KC is preparing breakfast at our galley. We have what is called a rehydration station. That's just a fancy way of saying that you're going to put some water into this dried food and get the moisture back into it again. We've got these vacuum-packed plastic bags that the food is sealed in. This looks like she's got some granola with blueberries here that she's preparing for breakfast. Once we let the water soak back into the food for 5 to 10 minutes, then you can cut the package open with a pair of scissors and then eat it with a spoon usually. Now here we have the red shift and the blue shift all on the middeck during our handover before the blue shift goes off duty and the red shift starts their day. And then here I am, once we've gotten through with the handover, up on the flight deck, loading a maneuver. During this flight, we have in excess of 250 maneuvers that we're doing for the various payloads. And our hat is off to Andy Lalich and his team. He's our pointer that's come up with the attitude timeline for our flight. And he and FAO Terry Schneider and their team have just done a fantastic job coordinating all the different payload activities and the attitude requirements and such.
Here's Dave having the last snack on the middeck before he gets ready for bed. And you can see the scissors, and he's having some dried pears for his snack. Additionally, one of the things that we have to do is to change out the what these are called lithium hydroxide canisters, and what these do is they remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So we have kind of a closed environment here. We've got fans that move the air around, and every day Willie takes these canisters and changes them out with the previous day's canisters so that we can make sure that we keep the air in here at a nice breathable level for everybody. This location is in the middeck floor where the LIO canisters are located. And we turn off the cabin fan to stop the airflow, swap out the cans, make sure that the doors are good and locked, and then we turn the cabin fan back on to start the air circulation again. And one of the things we get to do that's very enjoyable is to look out the window. Here's a beautiful view of the Earth as we come and make landfall over the continent of Africa in the vicinity of Morocco. You can see the Atlas Mountains there about the middle of the picture. And as we coast on past those, you see the beautiful desert scenes that we get from northern Africa and the Sahara area.
Well, if that won't wake you up, nothing will. That music for Dave when day is done. Good morning.
The MIST experiment is the last of 3 flame-related experiments to be conducted in this combustion module 2 facility.
I talked to Angel, and he said everything looks beautiful and just proceed.
And MIST experimenters on the ground very happy with what they're seeing. We're taking Mission Specialist Laurel Clark in the center of your screen.
On hill. Everybody here knows on hill.
And Columbia Commander Rick Husband with the camera. Camera in Columbia's payload bay, just looking down over the Houston area as the spacecraft completes a run over the southeast Texas coast.
Here in Mission Control Houston, this is a very common sight for every mission. Every mission, in fact, since STS-107 in September 1988. These flowers have shown up here in Mission Control. They're sent to the Mission Control Center by the Shelton family in Bedford, Texas, which is near Dallas. They've been sending them since STS-106, which is the first flight after the Challenger accident. They send 1 red rose to represent each member of the crew, and 1 white rose to represent those who have given their lives in space exploration. Earlier today, there was a moment of silence here in Mission Control at 10:39 in honor of the Challenger crew and also the honor of the Apollo 1 crew. This gift from the Shelton family is always much appreciated by the controllers here in Mission Control, and that they remember not only the crews who are on orbit now, but those who have given their lives for their country.
This is Phil Chen of Earth News for Willie McCool. Every astronaut gets asked thousands of times, what's it like to fly in space? And now that you can finally answer the question, what's it like to fly in space? And have you had a chance to look at your hometown of Lubbock, Texas?
I'd liken it to a smorgasbord of new and invigorating and sometimes fun and sometimes not so fun experiences. All in all, it's just been overwhelming. And in answer to your second question, every time we go over the U.S., our shift unfortunately has been asleep, so we have not seen anything except the far east coast of the U.S. on the early portion of our mission.
And for Ilan Ramon, same question. What's it like for you, and have you had a chance to see Lubbock, Jerusalem?
Well, it's great to be here in space. I wish I could go again and again. Although I want to come home, I miss my kids and wife. And it's even greater to fly over the U.S. and Israel. The world as all looks marvelous from up here.
Thanks. And a question for Colonel Ramon, if I could. On flight day 3, I asked you if you'd had a chance to reflect on the historical significance of your flight, and you said you'd been pretty busy and really hadn't had a chance to think about it. I'm just wondering if you had time to think about it a little bit now as you've flown over Israel a couple of times. I mean, what you think about the historic significance of your flight?
Yeah, first of all, I think that flying over Israel is great. To see your country, your state from up there so calm, so nice, so neat is really great. And I wish we will have very soon the quiet and the peace and the peaceful we see Israel and the Middle East from up here down there.
For Ilan Ramon, have you had the results you expected from the MIDEX experiment in terms of viewing dust aerosols in the atmosphere?
Well, Chris, in the first 7 days, I believe, we didn't have any dust up in the atmosphere, but it looks like they waited until my shift, and we had a big storm, dust storm over the Atlantic, which lasted about 2 or 3 days. So I think the scientists are very, very successful with their experiment. Other than that, we had another quite big experiment with a MIDEX payload, which is called Sprite, which are actually lightning that are going up from the top of the cloud to the atmosphere, and we had a lot of lightning storms recorded.
This is Phil Chen again. Sorry to accuse you, Willie, but I guess the PL misidentified you earlier on in the mission. For Ilan, you told us before that on your first Sabbath in space, obviously it was just after launch, you weren't able to do anything to commemorate it, but how about your most recent one a couple of days ago, or the one that's coming up in a couple of days? I believe you're on Houston or KSC time. Have you been able to at least pass around a Mylar bag of imitation and grape drink since you don't have any wine up there?
No, unfortunately or fortunately, when you are in space, you lose the days down on Earth. So actually, if you ask me what day is it for you guys, I have no clue. I know that we are on flight day 14. That's what I know. But I think that I will catch this Friday, which is the last Friday for us in space, and try to do something. And by the way, the one thing that I do is eat kosher food up here, which was provided for me by NASA. And actually, my crewmates share with me and love it.
I'm pretty certain today's Wednesday, but I wouldn't swear to it because I'm also on mission lapse time. And Ilan, I've asked you quite a few questions during this mission, but is there anything that you want to say to the people of Israel? What do you want to tell them about your mission right now?
I would like to say to the people of Israel that the world looks marvelous from up here, so peaceful, so wonderful, and so fragile. The atmosphere is so thin and fragile, and I think that everybody, all of us down there, not only in Israel, have to keep it clean and good. It saves our life and gives our life. And for the people of Israel, I wish, as I already said, I wish we will have a peaceful land to live in very soon.
Thanks, Willie. מזווית המבט שלנו כאן בחלל, כשאנו סובבים במסלול סביב כדור הארץ, אנו מביטים אליכם, ולמולנו נשקף עולם ללא גבולות, מלא שלווה והדר. תפילה בלבנו שהאנושות כולה כאחד תדמיין את העולם כפי שנשקף לנו, ללא גבולות, ותשאף לחיות ביחד בשלום ובמילות השיר אתם יכולים אולי לומר שאני מדמיין וחולם, אבל אני לא היחיד. אני מקווה שיבוא יום ותצטרפו אלינו ונזכה לחיות בעולם נפלא.
Here we have the Space choo-choo train coming down the tunnel. It's really fun to, we have to zip up and down here a lot of times today, but today we've got Rick and Casey and Ilan all coming together in a big train. And mostly work's got a whole lot of fun up here. Here's Ilan doing some microgravity circus tricks. You can see the hidden arm from the side to make sure we protect all of our microgravity payloads that we have on board. Of course, our commander couldn't let Ilan show him up, so he's doing some very nice pirouettes here as well. And of course, we're getting ready to go home, so we're doing exercise, and we've been doing push-ups in order to be ready to feel good when we get back to Earth. Push-ups seem a little bit easier here for some reason. Seriously, we are all exercising. One of my favorites. I have soup almost every day for lunch. The packets are sealed. We open them up with scissors. This is pretty much our normal routine for dinner meals. When you open it up, you have to be real careful that nothing comes out, gets all over the place. I'm going to get my spoon out and take a bite. It really is very, very good. Incredible how they've made the food wonderful here for us on orbit.
On past those, you see the beautiful desert scenes that we get from northern Africa and the Sahara area. And we'd like to thank you all very much for all the support that we've gotten and all your interest in the flight and all the great work from the folks on the ground. And this will conclude the crew choice of STS-107 for